What's going on, everyone? How we doing? How we doing? How we doing? What is the word? What is the word? Ba-ba-ba. Bill Nye, that you? No, it's not Bill Nye. It's not Bill Nye. Why is the GLC coupe so much more expensive? High demand, low supply. People pay more for the GLC coupe. Mercedes knows that. So, yeah, I like Ryan Reynolds better than Bill Nye. That's cool with me. What's the story with the framed Benz picture? That's just a picture that my wife got for me. The Slim Aarons is the name of the photographer, very famous photographer, cool dude. And yeah, I mean, there's no real significance other than she saw it, thought it was a cool picture of an old SL and a couple of random rich people at their house in Beverly Hills. So there you go. There you have it. MB of Washington here. Thanks for the GLC coupe, by the way. Troy, thanks for stopping by. Good to see you. Thanks for hanging. If it is feasible to return a car about 1.5 years into a 3-year lease, got into grad school and need to save for tuition, it's definitely feasible, but I wouldn't recommend it. Unless you have a very desirable car that's held its value well. I mean, it's going to definitely cost you a good amount to get out of it. So that's just something to keep in mind. But thanks for everyone for hanging out with me today. It is, what is it, Thursday afternoon. Couldn't hop on the last couple days, was a little busy, but here we are doing it live. What's the thoughts on the 2018 E300? Great car. I mean, that was a new generation in 2017. So, I've got, it's an E-Class, right? It's a little vanilla, but it's a good car. Vic, need to get rid of all my Teslas. What's a good deal on a 20 Model X Plaid for a G580E? Vic, we'd be happy to put a number on that Tesla for you. We do have 2 G580s in stock. So we sold out of, sorry, just a moment. Hello? No, it actually never got punched in. So it's still in our new car inventory. So, alrighty, thanks, bye. Lance, yes, we can lease E350 loaners, and in fact, we've got 3 2024 E350 loaners left. They're former demos. They've all been pulled. They're crazy good deals. February is the last month that they are leasable, so I just went through and repriced all of them, and they are screaming deals. So if you're looking for a great lease on an E-Class, I think all 3 of them are black on black, so they're they're not anything over the top crazy. They're great lease payment cars. If you just want to get into the new generation E-Class, I would definitely check them out. So, and no, I'm not in Bernie, Texas. EQ demo SUV deals. Yeah, we've got a ton of EQ deals. So if you go to our website, and there's a link in my bio to get there. You go to my link tree. It'll get you to my website or get to the dealership's website, and you go to New Alternatives. That's the tab that will show you all of our demo inventory, and all of our EQs are going to be on there, right? So if you want to know what the deals are on the EQs, that's how you would go about finding them. That is how you would go about finding them. Gene, I appreciate the kind words. Like to see if the deals are closed. Gene, I totally get that, and I understand that it can be a little bit frustrating that a lot of my videos don't have resolution to them. And I've thought long and hard about this, and unfortunately, for the way that my content is filmed, it oftentimes is very difficult to include that, just because, the way it works is that I'm in my office most of the day. Obviously, every now and then I'll go out and shoot something out and about, but I'm in my office, salesperson walks in, I turn the camera on, right? We see what the conversation is. So sometimes deals can take place over, the course of days. But if you watch like George Saliba, for example, where his content is more like kind of watching a movie, my content is watching how the movie was made, so to speak. So it's more of kind of talking through scenarios, getting an idea of what kind of questions a salesperson should be asking. It's very behind the scenes in the sales manager's office, but I'm not really very often speaking directly to the client, and therefore you can't it just is complicated for me to get you resolution on every deal, unfortunately. But I get it. I understand the frustration. So, Colin, what's up?
Let's board a deal.
Let's do it. Colin just sold an S-Class.
A wonderful S-Class, matte black on platinum white.
Matte black on platinum white.
Crystal white.
Crystal white.
My fault. That was ordered by Mr. Jimmy K.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I was like, why do we have such an awesome build? That's a unique build to have in stock. But Jacob, any interest in possibly doing work vlogs or something like that out of behind the desk? Love watching the videos. Yeah, I do. I'm still not entirely sure how to go about doing that. And Lorena's got a deal, back-to-back deals, double horn. There you go. We're getting it. We're cooking now.
Who are you talking to?
To the live stream community. Who are you talking to?
I thought you were talking to me.
No.
I was like, don't.
No. How hard is it to get to luxury dealerships? You're talking about how hard is it to get into sales in a luxury dealership? It's not terribly hard. I mean, some stores barrier of entry is almost zero. You can just show up for an interview and they'll probably hire you. But we're pretty slow to hire because we do things very differently. We don't pay traditional commissions. So, Jeff, other than standard cleaning, should a consumer invest any money in prepping their car for trade-in? Yeah, I mean, if you clean your car up before it gets appraised, that can definitely you better chance that they'll put more money on it, right? When a car is dirty, even though we can see through that, the mind can maybe be talked into it not being in as good of a condition. So not a bad idea to get your car cleaned before you bring it in. Shadows, thoughts on the AMG GTR? I mean, I love the GTR. Epic car. And even better than that is the AMG GT Black Series. Rachel, what has been the most bizarre request you have had from a consumer when searching for a car? Oh, I don't know. I can't really remember. I mean, a lot of times I'll get requests that are just unrealistic. People that they have certain criteria and a certain price point, and they're hoping for like a unicorn. But there's nothing that really jumps out to mind. Jared, what's going on? Jared, love the content and education regarding auto purchase, lifesaver. Jared, I appreciate you saying that. It's been really a pleasure getting to know you and chatting through, the unique scenario that you found yourself in. But thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to work with you. That's what means the most to me. And the fact that people reach out from all over the country and give us a chance to help them and sell them a car and make it easy for them, that is like the greatest compliment anyone can give us. So thanks to everyone for hanging out. Please make sure, if you're not following already, that you give us a follow or a subscribe if you're on YouTube. And of course, if you're hit the thumbs up button and the like button, very much appreciated. So like Owls, my buddy put an $85,000 sound system in an AMG GT Black Series. Sounds like a mobile concert. Wow, an $85,000 sound system. I didn't even know there was such a thing. But I would love to see what that even looks like. That sounds pretty epic. That sounds very epic. So, Gage asked, main advantage of a lease. Gage, for me, leasing is, especially for luxury cars, that is just the absolute primary way I recommend buying a car, unless you know for sure that you're going to keep a car for 5, 6, 7 years. Because the advantage is that you have a guaranteed exit strategy. The day that the lease starts, what your buyout's going to be, what your exit strategy is going to be. You can customize the miles based on how many you're going to need. And if the market tanks or you get into an accident, have a fender bender and get it repaired, right, that's not going to be your problem. Right? When you buy a car, whatever happens to the market, whatever happens to that car, your wallet is going to feel the impact of that. And that's what I think a lot of people don't realize when they're buying a car, is that it's still going to depreciate, right? Buying it doesn't save you from depreciation, but it opens you up to a lot of uncertainty. So, what's the highest negative equity that you've ever gotten approved? I mean, it's up there for sure. It kind of a tricky question to answer because the negative equity amount might be offset by a down payment. You know what I mean. But we've definitely had some 50,000 plus negative equity situations that have been approved, including one very recently. So, what's the junkiest car ever traded in on a new car? Oh, we get old junkers all the time.
He is pumped.
He's pumped. Good. Love it.
He's like, dude, my mom's 93. I gotta drive something nice.
Yeah, buddy. Love that.
He said everything's correct. Not in our system. That's not correct. It's the Warren E. Anderson. So I just confirmed the address. So
Okay. All
I
right,
just
that's
need
fine.
to email Rhonda tomorrow. And
Okay. All good. All good. All good. All right. When you get into cars with price tags over 180,000, what's the rough percentage of cash buyers? Yeah, you'd be surprised. People that are buying cars over 180 grand generally borrow money more than you would think. So maybe it's 50-50, but again, we recommend to a lot of our high net worth clients not to pay cash for cars, right? And they know that their money is better invested than it is, sunk into a depreciating asset. But it's probably 50-50. Jeff, that is a great question. Where is his tie? We'd all like to know. It's not on, and I'd like to give him grief for it, but I also don't want to. I have to work with him the rest of the day, and I can't afford him to have his head totally in a tizzy. Let's see here. My wife has a very short commute. Is 5,000 miles per year the shortest term? 7,500 miles a year is the shortest term for us, for Mercedes-Benz. So, 5,000 miles. 5,000 miles would be nice, but not currently an available option. What are your favorite current Benz and why? My current favorite Benz, Jeffrey, is the CLE 53 AMG. I think that Mercedes-Benz absolutely hit a home run with that car, and it's so good looking, got a wide body on it. I really think that they knocked it out of the park. I truly do. People have been buying it left and right. I mean, it reminds me a lot of the old C63 Coupe, which is now gone. And Nick, CLE 63, that's a great question. Unfortunately, I'm starting to become a little nervous about the timeline of that car if we ever receive it. I mean, I do think that eventually it comes to the States, but it hasn't been announced yet. I keep asking Mercedes about it. They can't give me an update on it, so there's really no telling if and when we are going to get it. But the fact that we're 2 model years in now to the CLE, and there's still no announcement on that car. So the 2026 information should be coming out within probably the next month and a half. And if it's not included in that release, then I'm going to start to doubt whether we get that car for the U.S. So, Cool Kev, have you sold any high-profile athletes? Yes, very many. Very many. Many Cleveland athletes and many others. So there's a certain basketball player famously from the area who doesn't play here anymore, but we've sold many cars to over the years. That's all I'll say about that. Nick, I currently drive an EQS 450 SUV. EQS 450 SUV. So thank you everyone over in TikTok. We got to get those likes going. Let's mash that like button, see if we can get a party started up in here. And if you're watching over on YouTube or Facebook, and you can hit the like button, the thumbs up button. I greatly appreciate that. I love the support. It means a lot. Do you recommend capping all fees and taxes for a lease? I mean, up to you. I don't think that if you want to do a sign and drive, you're welcome to. I feel like making your first payment and handling your fees up front is a pretty normal thing to do. So most will put down. Most will give around $2 to $3 grand at signing, and that covers your fees and your first payment. Because you got to remember, with a lease, you pay up front versus a retail contract. So when you lease a car, you pay a month ahead, which means if I pay today, then I've just paid for the next 30 days. Where on a retail, you're paying for the 30 days that you just had, right? You pay after the fact. So, the Loyalist Garage. If you, I might have missed your question, but please, if I missed your question, feel free to answer it again, and I will try to circle back to it. So, apologize. I got multiple chats that I'm trying to look at, and sometimes the questions come in so quickly that it's hard for me to answer all of them. But Jared, can you take us on an MB service sales and delivery tour? Just give us an idea of the daily operations. Yeah, I'm actually working on a video to do that, Jared. So I would love to do it on one of these live streams, but because I'm multi-streaming now, which is a new thing for me, that means that I am, I'm streaming to 4 platforms all at once, and I'm doing that from my laptop. So it's not really easy for me to kind of walk around with my laptop and do that. But I'm going to make a nice video. I'll put the full-length video on YouTube, and that way, people are more likely to watch it. Doug, any rich parents bought their spoiled kids a Mercedes under your watch? It's definitely happened a few times for sure. Have I had any sports cars, Nick? I have. My first official car was a Ford Mustang GT, a 2005. So I really loved that car. It was awesome. Had a lot of fun with it. And I had an E46 M3 back in the day, and I also had a 2013 Porsche Boxster. So I've had some fun cars for sure. But I've now that I'm in my old age, I've slowed down a little bit. Now I'm driving an EQS 450, and I love it. So Stephen Brown, EQE reliability pretty strong or no? I mean, everything, obviously we've only had them for a couple years now, but everything points to it being perfectly reliable car. I mean, the benefit to EVs is that there are significantly fewer components on them that require service, which is definitely a plus. So, Vic, a shop tour would be awesome. Yes, that is a popular request, so definitely something that I'd like to get for all of you, because would love to show you the operation. And we actually have 2 buildings where it's not the ideal setup, but we've got the new car building and the CPO building, the used car building, that are across the street from one another. We're just very landlocked where we are now, and so that was kind of the only option that we had to spread out enough. But so we've technically got 2 shops. We've got a shop on the new car side and a shop on the CPO side as well. So Elizabeth, we recently acquired an MB dealership, and I was so bummed that it wasn't with you guys. Elizabeth, who do you work for that acquired an MB store? Stefan's first BMW was a new M3 46 SMG. Nice. Yeah, I had an SMG as well. And Jordan, there are some gasoline. We have some gasoline demos that are well discounted that can eat up, negative equity, but probably not. If you're approaching $25,000 and you don't have a big down payment, really none of those cars are going to be able to help. What's up?
What should I tell the G550 gentleman? He wants me to call him at 6.
Yeah, we don't currently have one available.
I cannot trade for one because I don't have one to get back.
Well, the G550 market they dried up.
Exploded, yeah.
They're all gone. So we can certainly get him one. We've got a pipeline, but unless I don't really know what to say. Unfortunately, they kind of dried up.
Fortunately, I can't get one right now.
Yeah, we've already been down this road several times in the last month. They're just not out there.
All right.
So. Vic, I would definitely need, if you can send me the information on your Tesla. I'd like to think that I'm pretty good at this, but ballparking a trade on a Tesla with minimal information, I don't think I can pull that off. Edward, if I were not driving a Mercedes, what would you drive? Probably a Porsche or a BMW. Would be, those are my next 2 brands that I like. Moon, I have no idea how I came across your videos, but I'm obsessed now. Keep them coming. I appreciate you saying that. I will definitely do that. Thank you for the kind words. It means a lot. Richard, love your style. I appreciate you, Richard. Thank you for saying that. Aaron, thank you for sharing the live. I appreciate everyone and the support. How's over on TikTok? Is the stream coming through okay, or is it laggy? I'm still pretty new to this multi-streaming thing, and I got to get it figured out. But if it's laggy, let me know, and I'll hop off and do that one on the phone. But credit score, I'd need to lease a Mercedes. So, is it laggy? Okay, anybody else say laggy? It's not necessarily a credit score that you need, it's more a credit profile that you need. Laggy here and there, okay. So your score is definitely a part of it, but what you really need is a installment loan history is the big thing. So if you've got previous auto loans, then that is going to be the biggest thing to help you for getting approved on a Mercedes-Benz. Ben Kurt, thank you for sending the roses. I appreciate you very much. Thank you for the generosity. Yeah, mortgage definitely helps, Jacob. That's definitely a valuable installment loan to have. But comparable auto history is easily the number one thing that Mercedes-Benz will look at. So they want to know, have you had a car payment before, and did you pay it on time? So might seem a little bit, so essentially that's a long way of saying that I've seen people that maybe didn't have the best overall credit. Maybe there were a couple of blemishes here and there. Maybe that's some high credit card utilization. But if their automotive history is spectacular, then they usually won't have a problem getting approved for something. So lenders look at different types of credit in different ways, and they want to know that you've had a car loan before and that you've paid it without incident. That's the big thing that they care about. Ricky Ticky needs a Seabass G63. Very nice. Jacob only pays cash. Well, Jacob, maybe you have just an insane amount of money, but I would encourage you to look at investing that cash. Vicente, I've leased 5 cars before, all paid on time, and have a Jeep at $790 a month. So yeah, if you've had 5 cars and you've paid them perfectly, then you'd be in good shape to get approved for a Mercedes, 100%. How many more cars have you sold since being on TikTok? That's a difficult question to answer, Zach, because it's more difficult to measure. I mean, we have a very limited sample size of only about 6 months, and you're also trying to measure that against a very weird time where we're adjusting from the craziness of COVID, and sales volumes are very unpredictable. Inventory has been normalizing. I mean, it's just a very, very difficult time. So it's very hard to track what the increase has been, but the number is significant. It's just hard to gauge it against what the historical performance of the store was, because it's just not like it used to be in the car business right now. Ty, I actually find your channel entertaining. I have not bought a Benz since my SL55 and CLS. It appears you run your store similar to MB at Bloomfield Hills. Interesting, Ty. We actually hear all the time that we are the exact opposite of MB at Bloomfield Hills. We have a huge contingency of Michigan clientele that are in that area that buy cars from us because in their words, they tell us that they prefer the way we do business versus that store. So I can't speak to the way that store actually operates, but we do have a lot of Michigan clients. So take that, for what it's worth. When Quirt, $15,000 car, $13,000 down, $550 a month. Well, that wouldn't really make sense. That would mean that you're only financing about $2,000 plus taxes and fees. Maybe I'm misunderstanding that, but maybe I'm misunderstanding the math on that. What do you think of manufacturer direct to client sales? I was with Ford Sales for about 5 years. I think that there are a lot of people that want that, but I would put it to you this way. I heard a very interesting interview recently where somebody said if the manufacturers could do that, then they would have done it already. But the problem with legacy of manufacturers is that they have no efficient way of servicing vehicles and being on the ground to help clients after the sale, which is kind of where the dealership model was born from. So it's not anything that's going to happen. So in exchange for that, dealers like us are looking for ways to make it as close to an experience as maybe Tesla would provide you without it being directly from the manufacturer. I like Alice. Do most people who buy an MB in cash, traded in several years later, expect the depreciation, or is it usually a tough convo? I would say most people expect it. but sometimes it can be a difficult conversation. You know, some cash buyers just have an insane amount of money and they're used to buying expensive cars and losing money on them. Other people, you know, just, I don't know, it's like they were not expecting it and then they get frustrated about it. But one of the best things to keep in mind is that a car has never been and never will be an investment. So I would encourage you not to ever think of it in that way. Of course, there's some collectible cars and some vehicles here and there that break that mold, but it's very rare. So CLK GTR, Ruby, that's probably my favorite Mercedes-Benz of all time, the CLK GTR. Such a cool car. PZ, 35K down, 780 credit, what can I get? I make 95K a year after taxes. PZ, you know, have a lot that you could get for that. I would say if you've got $35,000 down on that salary, you're doing a great job saving. I would really encourage you to invest that money, because once you sink it into a car, you've turned what could be an appreciating chunk of money over time into a depreciating vehicle. And, you know, again, to each their own, but $35,000, put $35,000 in an investment calculator over time and watch what happens to it. So, Joseph, I have a 23 E350 and love it. Only thing I wish I had done differently is staying with 18-inch rims. Roads are not great up here. Yes, the wheels keep getting bigger and the roads keep getting worse. So if you live in Ohio like we do, or Michigan, the roads are brutal. The number one aftermarket protection package that we sell out of our business office is definitely tire and wheel protection, because if you live in an area that has bad roads, I mean, it pays for itself so quickly. It really, truly does. But thank you everyone for hanging out. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for all the likes and the thumbs up, and if you're not following already or subscribed already, please do so. The support means a lot to me. It's what keeps me coming back and doing this for all of you, and I hope that when we do these question and answer sessions that you enjoy them and get some value out of them. Stephen, you can transfer CPO warranties if you sell the car privately. If you trade it into a dealership, then the warranty will go away. Elizabeth, thank you for the kind words. I will continue to make the videos. Let's see, we got a long one here from Carter. I recently leased a vehicle for the first time in my life. I determined it made sense for my lifestyle and allowed me to consider vehicles that I would like to drive but wouldn't want to own. I feel like I did my research and made a well thought out decision, but some important people in my life have had very visceral reactions to the idea of a lease. I normally take these people's advice to heart, but when pressed to explain why it was a bad idea, they usually resort to having a bad feeling about it and cannot give any specific reasoning. Do you find yourself regularly running into people who have an irrational fear or dislike of leases, and how do you overcome that? Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up. And there are, leasing is one of those concepts that, like many, let me back up for a moment. Our financial education, generally speaking, is related to the people that we grew up with or around. So if the people that you grew up with had a very old school approach to finances, or just their community had a very old school approach, then they are going to believe certain things, and other people are going to have a totally different mindset about it. So, it's not uncommon, kind of like a political belief, where sometimes people aren't even aware of where the political belief came from, but it's so ingrained in them that they aren't going to be convinced to switch their position on the matter. So I think that somebody just mentioned, I lost it though, Alfred mentioned open leases. So there was a period of time, a few decades ago, where there was a concept of open leases. A lot of people got burned doing that, which was basically the lease was not you didn't have a preset residual up front. And so people would end up with this massive bill that they owed at the end of a lease. There's kind of a version of that still around today called a balloon lease, where you lease part of the car and then at the end the balance is owed. You can't turn it in and walk away from it. You've got to pay it. So, some people are think about that and they don't like it for that reason. Other people just don't understand. They look at cars, they'll compare it to real estate. For example, I would agree with the sentiment that renting a house or renting an apartment isn't the smartest thing to do unless you need the flexibility that it provides for you. But the reason that people don't like that is that homes generally appreciate over time. So it's easy to build equity in a home. Cars do not appreciate. No matter how you buy them, they will become less valuable every day. So you might as well lease, because you can't defeat depreciation. What you can do is you can protect yourself against it, and that's what leasing does. So it might, you might pay a little bit more as you go, but you have protections that you just don't have if you buy a car. So anyway, this is a very in-depth conversation, and this is never meant to be financial advice, but whenever I'm talking about this, I get passionate about it, because what I see happen is I see people buy cars and they stretch out the term to get a low payment that they're comfortable with, and then they end up in these just nasty negative equity situations, and it's never fun, and they're avoidable. Sin, so right now that percentage is a little bit lower, but historically it's about 60% of Mercedes are leased, 100%. Yeah, Joe Cast, of course. If you're going to keep a car for 20 years, then go ahead and buy it, right? But believe it or not, that is very, 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 very few people keep cars for that long. They tend to be very vocal, the people that keep cars for that long. They tend to be very vocal, but it's not, numbers-wise, not many people do. George B., BMW has a one-pay lease with incentives. What about Mercedes? Same thing. Wouldn't recommend that, though. Wouldn't recommend a one-pay lease either. Kind of defeats the purpose. To me, it's just a different version of paying cash. So the benefit, the way I pitch leasing to people is that if you have the ability to pay cash or to do a one-pay lease, there's one thing that must be true before you could buy the car. You have to already have that amount of money available to write a check for the car, a one-pay lease, whatever it is. If you do that, you're taking that money and you're now turning it into something. You're turning it into one thing versus turning it into another thing, right? It's opportunity cost. If I go out to lunch with my friend, even if he's paying for lunch, and I determine that the lunch is free, while I'm there, I can't work, I can't be doing anything else, right? I'm there with that person. So money is the same way. If I turn it into a car, it can't be invested. So if I've got a big chunk of money and I want to invest it, then I can use my future income to pay the payment, right? That's just kind of the way that I look at it. Dan, thank you, Dodge Jeep Ram, for negative equity, never ever. Just remember 0% interest is due to, 0% interest is just another way of incentivizing. That's all it is, right? There is no such thing as 0% interest. It's just marketing is what it is. Billy, hello from the UK. What's going on? Thanks for stopping by and saying hi. I appreciate you coming out and hanging out. Appreciate you coming to hang out. Yeah, and look, every now and then, if you've got a manufacturer that does like a short-term 0% finance, that might be worth taking advantage of. But again, be careful. Most of the time that there's ever a 0% financing offer, that is, you can do that, or you can get like a cash discount amount. You can't do both, right? Because they're trying to appeal to two different types of buyers. Alfred, what I mean by that is that there's no such thing as free money. Nobody lends money for free. What it means is that they're allocating a certain amount of money that they would have otherwise used to discount the car, and they are paying for the interest, right? They're paying for the interest up front. So, for example, you'll see this with domestic manufacturers a lot, where at the end of the year, they'll say something to the effect of, get $5,000 dealer cash or 0% financing up to 72 months, right? You don't get both. So it's the same $5,000. You're not buying down the rate. Mazda's buying down the rate, right? So let's be clear on this. 0% financing doesn't exist. There's never been a bank in the history of the world that would ever lend you money for free. It's just marketing, right? So if it's a, they might say we've got a $5,000 incentive that you can get off the price of the car, or 0% financing. The money is the same. It's just being applied in a different way. Yes, I agree with you. I like owls. It is ironic to me that people that have their money just growing like crazy in the market tell people to pay cash for cars. I truly believe that only when you have so much money that you've become bored with your life can you recommend to people to pay cash for cars. So, just from a financial perspective. But again, this is not financial advice. This is just the way I look at it. So, looking for a Mercedes Sprinter van. I have 6 kids, nothing local. Do you deal with any? Yeah, we've got a whole Sprinter division here. We've got lots of them. So if you go to the link in my bio, that'll take you to my link tree, and then you can get to the dealership website from there, or we have a lead form where you can fill out, your interest to work with my team and I, and tell us what you're interested in, and we'll get you pointed in the right direction. Doug, any customers bought an AMG and wanted to return it because it was too fast? I'm not sure that I've ever had somebody want to return it for that reason, but. Well, so Zach, how many units a month on average do you have put out? So we're between, this is the post-COVID years. We're between, let's call it 120 and 200 a month. Pre-COVID, we were more like 180 to 250. So we're working our way back up to those numbers. So, but I'm going to give it about another 5 minutes, and then I'm going to hop off and wrap up the day. I appreciate everyone hanging out. Thank you for the likes and the thumbs up and the subscriptions and the follows. Please, if you're not following already, I would love and appreciate a follow or a subscribe. Working on building up the YouTube presence. That's a new community for me over there, and I appreciate everyone coming to hang out from the YouTube community. Bill, add miles during or wait until the end of the lease. Prob goes 6K over. So, it's going to cost you the same either way. It's just whether or not you want to spread it out over your remaining payments. I'm thinking about doing a full matte stealth PPF on my Raptor. How's that realistically affect resale trade and value down the road? It'll give you a small bump, but you'll get probably maybe 25 to 33% of the value back on the PPF. But where it can help you is it can avoid some damage, some dings, or some some scratches and things that otherwise may have affected your value. So if you look at it in that way, it could end up being more than that. Cody Carter, what's going on, brother? Good to see you as always. Thanks for dropping by, and thank you for the roses. Appreciate you. Thank you everyone for the follows. Zax, Andrew, Wayne, GT, our dad. Thank you for the follows. I appreciate that. Singe, would you own an AMG? Yeah, absolutely. Look, there's different kinds of people in the world. Some people that look at transportation as it gets me from A to B, and I don't need anything super fancy over the top. Other people look at a car as an extension of themselves and their life, and they spend a lot of time in it, and they want to feel good when they're in it. And so, those are the people that buy luxury cars and performance cars. And that's not to say that. And look, let's be clear: performance cars, luxury cars, financially, it's not a smart thing. But if it makes you happy, then that's the most important thing, because I think we can all agree that all of the things that we should do, right, all the super healthy foods that we should eat and the diets we should be on and the exercise we should be getting and the financial plans that we should be following, it's all well and good. We all understand it. But if we're not willing to do it because it makes us miserable, then what's the point, right? Would you rock a Maybach? Probably not. I don't, that's not really my vibe. I don't think I need to go over the top luxury like that. I mean, an EQS Maybach I would drive for sure, because I'm just such a fan of the EQS SUVs, and so why not go all the way with the Maybach? But a traditional one, that's just a little bit too over the top for me. So, what is the lowest profit versus the most profit you look to make on an average deal? We really don't look at it that way. We look at what is we're a best price up front store, so we're constantly analyzing our inventory and the market, and we're figuring out where are these cars transacting and where do they need to be priced so that we can sell them quickly and efficiently. And whatever that profit margin is what it is. And of course, we'll try to maximize. We'll try to make sure that we have an opportunity to sell protection packages that add value, right? We don't sell anything here that doesn't add value. We don't include anything that you didn't ask for. But we believe that volume and velocity is the way to go. What's up?
We have a dealer trade here from Linfield, and Steve has nothing on it.
Okay.
Just so you know.
Did they not call ahead? That was a trade from last night,
Okay.
so it might not have gone out in my email, but let me see.
Say if you can just give me like a stock or something, I could go ahead and get all taken care of.
All right, thanks, buddy. I'll tell you what it is right now.
Oh, good.
It's a silver GLC coupe, S340415.
S430.
340415.
One more time for me, sorry.
S340415.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, gang. Really appreciate everyone coming to hang out. Really do. Thank you again for all the new followers and subscribers. It means a lot to me. And try to get on here and do this every day. So until next time, adios.